It'll be very different to what I usually upload, but probably the most important video I'll ever put out there. So I want to tell you all about an incident that happened to me when I was out the other night with my friends, and like I don't want this video or this story to be anything about like me, and I don't want people to think that like I'm like, oh my god, listen to what happened, me. And I also, when I do insert a clip that I did get from the night, I don't want the video to be about that person. It's more about the situation. I just want people to be very, very aware, especially young girls and boys, when they are out and like that, just to be safe. And like, to be honest, we'll get to the point, but I am going to block out the person in the video because, as I said, I don't want it to be about them. I want it to be just like, I just want to give awareness to like what could possibly happen. Yeah, like I'm going to just explain what happened and then we can kind of like go through it at the end. So basically, I was out the other night with my two friends in Dublin, and I am going to mention that I was in Dublin because I feel like that plays a big part, because I don't really know my way around Dublin. I was staying in a hotel, so like it wasn't like I was at home and I was coming home after a night out or whatever. So I was in Dublin, we were in a bar and we were leaving before the place closed. So like when we walked outside, there wasn't really many people like around. So we're very like thorough with our safety. Like we, especially myself and Lauren, like we'll make sure that we are contacting each other when we're in a taxi, contact each other when we get home, whatever. Like I feel like myself and Lauren, like we have that down to a T, that we are very, very safe. And like what I'm about to tell you, we couldn't have been more safe with this whole thing. But anyway, so we were standing outside, so it was myself, Lauren and Shane. Shane got into a taxi, he headed home, so I just wanted to make sure, like also this was Shane's first time out in Dublin as well, so like we were kind of being very protective and being like, okay, we need to make sure that he gets home first. So he got into the taxi, and then so where we were out, my hotel was literally about 50 meters away. Like I was like, oh Lauren, you get into your taxi now because I'm literally only staying over there in blah blah blah, and I said the name of the hotel. That is probably my biggest mistake, and I know I keep thinking back and blaming myself, and I shouldn't. So so I said out loud where I was staying, and there was a guy standing really close to us, but like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really notice him until what happened next. But there was a guy kind of lingering around, but I'm not gonna lie, and like I don't want to be like, oh my god, I'm like everyone knows who I am or whatever. But like when you're out around and you're around people that are known on social media, people do kind of like stand close. So I didn't really notice him. Like that's just something that I've kind of gotten used to. But obviously I'll be more aware next time. So this guy, anyway, whoever he is, heard me say the name of my hotel. So I said to Lauren, I'm only staying over there, you get into your taxi. She's like, I'm going to stand here. So she literally had the door of the taxi. Also, can I mention that she mentioned to the taxi driver where she's staying. So like people also heard that. These are things that I would have never ever been aware of, but I'm going to be aware of now. Like you need to just keep your voice down and like don't tell anyone around, don't announce where you're staying. So she had her hand on the door. She said, I'm going to watch you walk to your hotel. So Lauren watched me walk across the road to my hotel. She stood at her taxi door. I turned around and I watched her sit into her taxi, and she said that she's not letting the taxi man, she literally wouldn't leave the taxi man drive away until she watched me walk into my hotel, like literally open the door and go in. That is how safe we were. And can I just mention, in the milliseconds of her taxi taking off and my door about to close, this man slid into my hotel, into the door. And like my point, the reason why I'm telling this story, obviously it's really, really scary, but like we couldn't have been more safe. Like we did exactly what we do every night. And like the more I think about it now, the more I'm like getting emotional. Like I wasn't actually emotional when it happened. I hate crying on the internet, actually. It cringes me out. But I think like the more I think about the whole situation, the scarier it actually gets. So this guy followed me in. So I realised he was behind me because the hotel I was staying in, the door is quite heavy. So I pushed open the door. I went in, waved at Lauren. I was walking to the lift and I could hear like he didn't open the door again. He slid in the gap. So I could hear him basically getting stuck in the door. And I turned around and I was like, oh my god, that's the guy that was standing outside. So I kind of like rented a lift, and my shoes were falling off me because they were sling back. Girls will know, they were just kind of like flopping. So I ran in anyway. Also want to mention, there was nobody on the reception of the hotel. that they have 24-hour reception. There was no one around, there was no security, there was nobody when I walked in the door around. And then when I saw that guy, I was like, I need to get into the lift. My mum was upstairs in the hotel room. All I was thinking of was, I want to get to my mum. So I went to the lift, got into the lift, and I pressed the closed door straight away. I was like, literally, like, you know, when you're in there, you're like, closed door. The door was closing, and then in slides, like, slid in the gap. It like jammed on him. And at that stage, I was like, I'm left standing in a lift now with this, like, I didn't really know what to do next. Also, I'm going to insert a video here. So straight away, I thought I need to record this. Like, I was going to ring my mum, and I was like, I don't want to scare her either. So I just pressed record on my phone. Now, at this stage, I didn't know. I was thinking to myself, maybe he's staying in the hotel. Maybe, like, I was thinking of excuses. But the main point of this whole video is, between the time that he came in the front door of the hotel and got into the lift, he took his belt off his pants. Now, I don't know, I really just want to tell the story, and like the more I never actually sat down and went through the night on my own. Oh, I'm annoying myself doing this. So, when he got into the lift, he had a belt in his hand, and I was like, okay, is this guy going to strangle me? Or, like, is he going to take his pants off? Or, like, I didn't know. So I have the video here. I'm going to insert it, but I'm going to block out his face because he didn't actually touch me. Not that I'm making excuses, but I just want you to see what had happened, like, why I think that this is, like, obviously a problem. So when he got into the lift before this video, right, I pressed the door, whatever, he got in, and I was like, okay, so I didn't press my floor number because I was like, I was scared to, obviously. I should have probably got out of the lift at this stage, but I wasn't thinking, I was thinking I just want to get to my mum. So I looked at him and I was like, do you have a floor number to press? And he was like, oh, no, whatever floor. Red flag. I should have completely got out. I was like, okay. So I just pressed record on my phone. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking, I don't know, if he kills me, will I just throw my phone away? Someone will find something. Didn't want to ring my mum, didn't want to scare my mum, didn't know. I really, to be honest, I wasn't really thinking. I think if I was like, I had a few drinks, but I wasn't like very, very drunk. But also, I feel like if I was anyway sober, I probably would have just started screaming. But I think I was afraid to show him that I was scared. I was like, this is just normal, like, we're just going to get to my room. So I pressed my floor number. And this happened. The door opened, and to this side was probably like a good, like, maybe 20 rooms, and then to the side I was going was only like 5 or 6 rooms. He was right behind me. Now I have another video to include here. But if you can see, I know I can insert his face, but if you could see his face, the way he was like holding the belt, like, I was thinking to myself, I was looking at him in that video and I was like, is this door going to open? And now I can't see him, like, is he going to strangle me? But you could see the way he was just looking, like, there's so much intention in the video. That's why I knew it wasn't, like, I knew.
What she's trying to describe there is a thing called Arab eyes. That's what it is. It's called Arab eyes.
He wasn't staying in the hotel. I knew he wasn't being nice. Like, it was all just really, really bad. Are you okay? Just a weird fella. This guy's just supposed to be into. So to explain that part, so I started walking. He was right, literally on my shoulder. So I stopped. He stopped, and then he started walking ahead. Now to the end of that corridor, my room is the very, very last room. I had no idea what was behind that wall. So he keeps walking out behind the wall. There's actually a staircase there. He obviously realized, fuck, this is a staircase, like, this isn't a room, like, where is she going? He had no idea where I was going at this stage. I think, thank God my mum was in that room, because if I used my key card to get into my room, he would have 100% pushed in behind me, and sure, he's way stronger than me. So when I knocked on the door, he came back out around. Obviously was thinking, why is she knocking? Like, why isn't she using her card? I'm presuming that's exactly what he thought, like, what she knocking on the door for. That's when I asked, is he okay? I was like, are you okay? And he just goes in behind the wall again. I run into my mum and like I was like, ma'am, someone's following me, so I had to ring reception straight away. So at this stage my mum is like freaking out. She like barricaded the door. We couldn't see out the keyhole, so we were too small, so we had like these two stools up against, like a big like heavy thing up against the door. My mum was constantly looking at us like, I need to look out and see if he's outside or whatever. So I rang reception and I was like, a guy followed me basically from the street up to my floor. He's not meant to be here. Like, I was freaking out. And this is what kind of messes this whole thing up. Like, he should not have been let into that hotel. Like, I personally think there should have been some sort of night porter or security on the door that takes your name and your room number. I know there's a lot of hotels in Limerick that do that. Like, they need to know that you have a room. And they've probably thought, now, this is what he said, okay? He said, oh, I saw the guy come in with you on the camera. I just presumed he was your boyfriend. Like, not to be dramatic or anything, but imagine if I was murdered, okay? And they just presumed that this guy was my boyfriend. Like, they presumed that he was with me. Could they not? I don't, like, I think a lot more could have been done on the hotel side. There should be security. I'm hoping at this stage and after this story, because I did go down obviously and report it, that they have extra security so it doesn't happen to someone else. Like, that is what I'm trying to get out from telling you this, is that like, I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. Obviously, like, we don't know, this world is absolutely crazy, but so he got into the hotel, blah, blah, blah. They looked on the security footage and they couldn't see him. They were like, that's it. So a guy came up to my room, I was explaining to him, I was like, he's gone down there behind like that wall. At that stage, I didn't know it was a staircase. And he was like, that's just the stairs. I was like, well, he's obviously on the stairs then if you haven't seen him leave the hotel. They never ended up telling me if they saw him leave, if he was still there. Me and my mum could not sleep. This happened at 2:01 in the morning. We didn't get to sleep until about 5:30. Like, we were literally sleep deprived. I was like, ma'am, like, we couldn't leave the hotel room. Like, we were absolutely petrified. And it shouldn't have happened. Like, we were so thoroughly careful with like Lauren getting into her taxi, me getting into the hotel, and still something has happened. Like, I don't know what's next for young girls. Like, what more could we have done in that situation? Like, do we have to carry like self-defense weapons? Like, do you know, because like, God only knows. Like, thank God my mum was there, and thank God that, like, I don't know, maybe he like didn't plan it properly, or like he was too drunk, or I don't know, but like, this could have been so much worse, and this could happen to anyone. And then I was thinking to myself, like, he didn't get me that night, but like, what if he left the hotel and did it to someone else that was coming out of that bar? Because like, when I left the bar, it wasn't closed, so like, he could have went out and waited for somebody else, do you know? So I just think it's really, 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 really scary that like, you just need to be so careful. And it's really sad that like, we can't mention where we're staying. We have to watch each other walk in. Like, we have to wait and watch our friends walk to the front door. We have to then ring them. Like, when I rang Lauren and told her, she was like, Chloe, it's like Lauren then, I felt really bad because like, Lauren then was trying to like blaming herself, because she was like, but I watched you, like, I didn't see it. And I was like, we shouldn't be blaming ourselves. Like, this man, this boy, to be honest, because he was actually the same age as me, this boy did this, like, and it's his fault. And like, I don't know why girls have this thing of like blaming themselves, and like, it's their fault that this happened. We couldn't have been any more careful. I really don't know what is happening in this world, and like, why these young boys think. And it's not like, it's not everyone, because I know like my brother would never ever do something like that, but like, I just think it's awful. Like, it's really, really sad, and I hate crying. Like, let's just ignore the fact that I'm crying, but I think it's.
And see what I mean about the lasting effect? I mean, it's common sense about the lasting effect of all of this on people. And other people within her family now are going to hear that, and that's going to cause anger and frustration. You know? I hear stories like this, like, yet that the government and media and Garda are still lying to the people, even though these stories are constantly coming in. It's just going to get worse and worse. I'm telling you. That's the plan. Just get worse and worse. And then, of course, they come in with the solution. Well, if you just want us to make you safe, you know, here's a little tag or, some shit. They'll come up with something. We need to put more cameras up for more security. Let's hire more Garda, things like this. Oh, bullshit.